Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I'm super thrilled to have you here today. Go ahead and grab your clipboards and toss on that head coach's headset because we are prepping for what is, hands down, the ultimate off-field challenge for any high school student athlete in Idaho. We're talking about the Idaho High School Activities Association, or the IHSAA Eligibility Playbook. You see, before anyone can even think about stepping under those Friday night lights, hitting the hardwood, or lining up on the track, there is this massive administrative game that has to be played. And to win it, well, you're going to need to understand the rules of this game just as well as you understand your own team's playbook.
So, let me just ask you a question. Does athletic talent actually guarantee playtime? Like, if you've got the fastest 40-yard dash, the highest vertical jump, or literally the best throwing arm in your whole district, is that enough to lock down your spot on the roster? It's a pretty natural assumption, right? I mean, you put in the grueling hours at the gym, you run the drills, you perfect your craft, and your talent just speaks for itself.
Well, here's the hard truth. No, it absolutely doesn't. In Idaho, paperwork is what actually dictates your playtime. It genuinely does not matter if you are physically or athletically the most gifted student in the entire state. If your administrative hurdles aren't completely cleared, you are sitting on the bench. The forms, your transfer status, the residence verifications, these are your real, immediate opponents. So our explainer today is going to break down exactly how you navigate all this heavy documentation so that your talent actually gets its chance to shine.
All right, Section 1, School First, Sports Second, the core philosophy.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really grasp the rules, you kind of have to understand the referee, which, in this case, is the IHSA. Their foundational philosophy is that high school sports exist to support your education, not eclipse it, Athletic glory is completely secondary to the classroom. The association operates on 4 distinct priorities: academics, school enrollment, student conduct, and fair competition. Basically, playing sports isn't a right, it's a reward. It's a reward for being a good student first and maintaining proper conduct. They even go as far as actively tying sports to academic achievement, hosting an academic state champion recognition program. Long story short, if you aren't prioritizing these 4 pillars, you just aren't playing.
Moving right along to Section 2, Navigating the Transfer Defense, Rule 8. Now, transferring schools, that is one of the most dangerous bureaucratic traps for any family. If you move or change schools after the beginning of 9th grade, you trigger Rule 8. This is essentially a defense mechanism designed specifically to stop students from switching schools just to build some unstoppable super team. And here is the absolutely critical number in that rulebook. 1. If the IHSAA determines that a student changed schools primarily for athletic reasons, that student faces exactly 1 full year of an eligibility from interscholastic extracurricular activities. Not a single game, not 1 semester. 1 full year, starting from the date of initial enrollment at the new school. That's a massive, massive penalty that can essentially wipe out a huge chunk of a high school career.
And this brilliantly illustrates the one major exception to that harsh transfer penalty, the bona fide move. If you want immediate eligibility at a new school, you've got to prove a genuine, permanent move by parents or legal guardians into the new attendance area. But pay attention to the strict legal definition here. It's an actual physical relocation paired with the termination of occupancy of the prior residence. Meaning, you can't just go rent an apartment in a new district while keeping your old house as your main hub. No way. You have to genuinely pack up your life and leave that old residence behind.
Now, check out this heavy list. If your family's move is under 50 miles, the burden of proof absolutely skyrockets. The IHSA is going to require serious, hard evidence to prove it wasn't just a sports-motivated hop across town. We are talking utility termination records, updated voting and driver's registrations, proof of where siblings go to school, and written letters of explanation. You literally have to overwhelm the athletic director with a mountain of evidence that your physical life has completely 100% relocated.
Oh, and here is a crucial warning for any families moving into Idaho from another state. You cannot erase a penalty just by crossing state lines. If a student was deemed ineligible under the rules of another state's association, that ineligibility packs its bags and transfers right along with you when you enroll in an Idaho high school. There is no magical clean slate just because you swapped your zip code for an Idaho one.
Let's jump to Section 3, Proving Your Single Residence, the One Home Rule. So, we've talked a lot about transferring, but what about where the athlete actually sleeps at night? Residency is totally central to Idaho's eligibility rules. So the crucial point is this: for eligibility purposes, there can be only 1 residence. literally just one. And this gets incredibly tricky when a student splits time between households, maybe moves frequently between parents, or changes living arrangements. The school has to know, with absolute certainty, which single location is the true primary home base for that student.
And listen, a simple mailing address or dropping a P.O. box, yeah, that's not going to cut it. This is especially vital in cases involving divorce, legal separation, guardianship, or shared custody. If the student's residence is even slightly unclear, families really shouldn't assume their verbal explanation will just be taken at face value. Schools are going to require hard legal documents to determine where the student truly lives, just to ensure the playing field remains perfectly fair for everyone.
Which brings us to Section 4, Academic Rules and Exceptions, Knowing the Nuances.
Now, what's really interesting here is the totally clear line drawn between breaking a sweat and actually playing. We have practice participation, where an ineligible student might actually be allowed to attend workouts, run drills, and stay in shape. But game eligibility is a totally different beast. If the paperwork isn't fully certified by the school, that student cannot appear in uniform or officially represent the school in a competition. You should never, ever assume that just because a player is sweating it out at Tuesday's practice, they're automatically cleared for Friday night's game.
I gotta be completely real with you on this next point. Providing false or misleading information to try and skirt around these residency or transfer rules, it is a huge deal. It will trigger serious penalties under the association's violation policies. Honesty and accurate documentation aren't just polite suggestions. They are literally the absolute core of the eligibility review process. Lying on these forms is a massive foul, and it will cost you dearly.
But hey, don't panic if your family's situation doesn't fit into a perfect, neat little box. The IHSA knows that life happens. If you're dealing with a foreign student exchange, dual enrollment, or a genuine unforeseen hardship, there are specific forms, flowcharts, and waiver requests designed exactly for these special cases. Not every issue is handled the exact same way, so your best bet is to contact the association directly when your situation is a bit unusual.
Let's move to Section 5 and see how this all builds into your eligibility game plan, how to win off the field.
Okay, we know exactly what the referees are looking for, so here is your preseason briefing and action plan. Step 1, verify eligibility early. Please do not wait until after tryouts have begun. Do it weeks in advance. Step 2, keep meticulous, frankly obsessive records of all utility and residence changes if your family moves. Build that evidence file. Step 3, proactively ask your school's athletic director or principal to review your transfer status. And Step 4, always check the latest IHSAA handbook, because as of 2026, the rules continue to be updated and you are the one responsible for knowing the current play.
Which leaves us with this final, vital question. Are you truly ready to compete, both on paper and on the field? Remember, eligibility isn't just a box you check once in August and then totally forget about. It's an ongoing, continuous commitment to the educational process that keeps high school sports fair, organized, and accountable. Take care of the paperwork, maintain those grades, and then, and only then, can you let your incredible athletic talent do the talking. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.